Angles and points on lines. There are two rules you will need to know to answer all the questions you might see. First, angles on a straight line add to 180. Here's a straight line. Let's make a couple of angles, X and Y, and let's measure them using this red measurer. That's X, that's Y. And it's moved through X and Y, and we can see it's gone from here all the way to here, which I think you will agree is 180, or as I like to say, 180. So we know that X plus Y equals 180. We can make little questions up. AB is a straight line, find X. Well, we see here that this is on a straight line, so this is 180. Or as I like to say, 180. So we can add 135 to X to get 180, subtract 135. X is equal to 45. Of course, I'll check that. 45 plus 135 is 180. Excellent. Feel good about that. Slightly more complicated one. Again, we know this is on a straight line. They all go through this point. These three angles add up to 180, or as I like to say, 180. Okay, so 2x plus 20 plus 2x plus x plus 10 is 180. Gather the terms. 5x plus 30, 180. Subtract 30. 5x equals 150, and therefore divide by 5 to find x equals 30. Now, I can put these numbers in. 2x plus 20, 2 times 30, that's 80. 2x is a 60, and x plus 10, 30 plus 10 is 40. And then I can add these numbers together. 80 plus 60 plus 40 equals 180. So I'm feeling good about that. What goes wrong? Well, there is a common mistake that people make. Here is a straight line AB. Here are two angles on the line. And people say, oh, well, on the angles on a straight line add to 180. Therefore, we can say that 3x plus 2x equals 180. But we can't. And we can't because this line and this line are completely separate. There's no reason why this and this should equal 180. We have to have it over here. And even here, we still have this chunk missing. We don't know what that is. We can call that question mark. And then we can say 3x plus 2x plus whatever question mark is equals 180. That's the only way it works. So it has to be up from the same point, angle, 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 angle. A second point, a second rule. Angles around a point add to 360. So let's have a look. Here's a point. Here's a few angles. And here is X, Y, and Z. And this is our measuring dial. And it'll go dial through X, dial through Y, dial through Z. And you can see, I hope, that it's gone through this movement, which is 360. Or as I like to say, 360. And we can then say that X plus Y plus Z equals 360. Now we can have fun with this, in a sense. Let's have a look. Here's an example. ABCD is a square, find X. Right, okay, well, they've told us this is a square because they want us to know that this is a 90-degree right angle. Fine, so we know that. And we know that this lot go all the way around this point here. It's all about 360. So we can add them all up. 2x here, 2x minus 10, 3x plus 90 equals 360. So gather terms, 7x plus 80, minus 10, and 90 plus 80 equals 360. We subtract 80. 7x equals 280. Divide by 7, x equals 40. So now when we check it, we can put in the numbers. 2x is going to be 80, 2x minus 10 is 70, and 3 times 40 is 120, plus we've got 90 over here. So these are the four angles which add up to 360. 80, 70, 120, and 90. And if I'm not mistaken, they do add up to 360. Very good. Of course, mathematicians always like to take things a little bit further. So here's a regular pentagon and a square. Work out the angle marked X. You must show all of your workings, obviously. So let's have a little think. This is all about a 360, because we are interested in finding the interior angle of a pentagon and the angle around a point, because we're going to look at this point here. We've got 1, 2, 3 angles, one of which is X. Total interior angles of a pentagon is 5 minus 2 times 180. So that's 540. But that is the total of all of these angles. So we need to divide by 5. And that's 108. So we can say that this is 108. We know what this is. This is 90 because it's a square, because it says so. And so now we have 108 plus 90 plus X is equal to 360. And we subtract 108 and we subtract 90 to get X equals 360 minus 108 minus 90. X is 162, which is fairly understandable. Let's have a little check. First thing I check is that I've not made a snafu adding these three up. 162 plus 108 plus 90 is 360. Great. And a quick check of this, the internal angle of a pentagon. I'm going to use the exterior angle rule. Exterior angles total 360. So I'm going to say the exterior equals 360 divided by 5, which is 72. And then, of course, interior and exterior added together equals 180. So this is the exterior. I'm going to add 108 and 72 to get 180. So I'm very happy with that. And of course, this is a nice little setup for questions. You can have loads of them. There's a thought we have, little moment. There's a calculation. Of course, there's the check. Here are alternatives. A regular hexagon and a square. Why not any size, shape and a square? Here's a regular hexagon and a regular pentagon. Work out what X is. You do the same thing each time. That's the important thing, and it's all about 360. Here's a nasty little question. This pattern is made from a regular pentagon. That's in the middle. Surrounded by squares, they're in grey, and isosceles triangles, the ones with two lengths the same. Show that the angle marked X is 54. Right, well, let's have a little think about this. I would say that in my entire life, they've only said regular pentagon when they want you to work out the internal angles, because it has to be regular to work out the internal angles. Otherwise, you know the total, but you don't know what each angle is. But we now know what this is. So that's my clue. Find the interior angle of a pentagon. Once we've got that, we know that this is 90. We know what this is 90. We can work out what this is, which we're going to call Y. And this is an isosceles. So we should be able to work out all the other angles in that. So we're going to use 360. Let's start off with the interior angle of a pentagon. Angles around a point. Total interior angles equals 5 minus 2 times 180, which is 3 times 180, 540. But we only want an individual internal angle, which is going to be a fifth of that. So it's still 108 when we know that. So we have got 108 plus 90 plus 90 plus Y is equal to 360. So we can say clearly 108 plus 90 plus 90 plus Y is equal to 360. We'll take away this lot, minus 108 minus 90 minus 90, and we get Y equals 360 minus that lot, which is Y equals 72. Sincerely hope this is a calculator aloud question. Y equals 72. Now, the angles in here are Y, and this is an isosceles triangle. This is the same as that, because both of these are the same squares, because this is the same as that. So if these two angle lengths are the same, then the angles at the base of an isosceles are the same. So they're both X, and we have Y. So we can say that Y plus X and X is 180, or 72 plus 2X is equal to 180. We subtract 72. 2X equals 108. divide by 2, x equals 54. This is a long journey. No disguising that, but the good news is that we've got the answer that we came for. So that's always encouraging. In fact, that doesn't need to be checked. That's done. If, for example, you ended up with x equals 48 or something, you have made a little mistake in this. Do not panic. Try and go back and spot the error. If it's 48, then this is 96. Work back to see what's gone astray. Particularly this 108. That's something what I would start with checking. So have a think, do a calculation. Oh, don't need to check it because we've got the answer we've looked for. So here's one for you to demonstrate your skills. I will give you the answer in about 4 seconds. Well, I hope that went well. I think we saw this earlier on. I'm sure you know the method. Here's a regular pentagon, a hexagon. It's got hexagon, right? Regular hexagon and a square. So regular starts me thinking, aha, 360. We need to find these angles. And we will do that. We'll call that H. We'll call that 90 because it is 90. And we need to find the interior angle of a hexagon. I knew that was coming the moment I saw regular. So what is H? We'll find that out. And then we'll use angles around a point equals 360. So total interior angles, 6 minus 2 times 180, 4 times 180 equals 720. That's all of the interior angles, all of these. So each interior angle is 720 divided by 6 equals 120. We can put 120 there. We know that's 90. So this lot is 360. We've got 120 and 90 plus x. 120 plus 90 plus x equals 360. Great. So we will subtract 120 and 90 from both sides. X is 360 minus 120 minus 90. X is 150. And I'm going to check it. First thing I check is I haven't made a fool of myself with this calculation. 120 plus 90 plus 150 is 360. Great. Next thing I check is the interior angle, which I've calculated to be 120. And I'm going to use, again, the exterior angle rule. The total of exterior angles is 360. And there are 6 of them. So 360 divided by 6 is 60. And we know that the interior plus the exterior is 180. So that's my calculation of the interior. And it does indeed equal 180. Brilliant. Feel very happy with that. Have a think, do a calculation, and please check it. It is impossible to answer some questions unless you know these 2 rules. That the sum of the angles at a point on a straight line is 180, and the sum of the angles around a point is 360. And that will make hard questions, well, they're still tricky. Sometimes they're easy, but sometimes they're tricky. Well, why not subscribe? Loads more videos to come about all sorts of things. Best of luck.